Hello, my name is Scott Davis. Welcome to New World Birth. This is the care and feeding of a New World Age report for the Gregorian date of June 27, 2016, and one con or seed or lizard in the Mayan Zolkin calendar, with Mercury entering Cancer, Mars turning direct, and the Cancer new moon. June 27th is one con or seed or lizard, and it carries the themes of corn, the net overflowing after the harvest, planting, ripeness, sexual maturity, abundance to manifest, connecting with others, the lizard of fertility and growth, germination, and children and family. And this has a lot in common with the Western astrology of this period, with Mercury entering Cancer, joining the Sun and Venus, and the new moon in the sign of the home and family. So seed in Zolkin has two primary representations, the huge net overflowing with corn, and the lizard, which are both symbols of fertility. So this 13-day period is excellent for planting new intentions and other seeds. And since we're entering into a new Gregorian month during this Trecena, I thought I'd discuss the metaphysics of the upcoming month. July is the 7th month, and with the digits of 2016, when we add them together, we get 16. And then we add the 1 and the 6, and it tells us that we're in a 16-7-month numerology. Basic numerology reduces numbers to 1 through 9. So when we think about that arc, the 7 represents a time of digging into events and situations to get a deeper perspective, with a stronger focus on values, motives, and ethics, which are also themes of the sign Scorpio, which has influence with Mars turning direct a few days before July, and in the sign of the Scorpion all month as it moves into Sagittarius on August 2nd. The 16-7 combination is represented by the Tower and Chariot cards in the Tarot, which is about everything that is contrary to our authentic nature is destroyed and jettisoned through finding our stillness even when we are in motion. This quote from William Law represents the Tower archetype. I feel within me the consuming fire of heavenly love, which has burned up in my soul everything contrary to itself and transformed me inward into my own nature. And this offer from Emerson is helpful in understanding the Chariot. Motion or change and identity or rest are the first and second secrets of nature. Motion and rest, the whole code of her laws may be written on the thumbnail. So July represents a dramatic shift, as May brought us new options. June brought us further down the path regarding the situations that lead us to a new life. And as we begin the time of evolution in July, that leads us to the solar and lunar eclipses during the completion 9-month in September. Before I get into the daily energy of one con or seed or lizard, on the 27th, all the planets appear to be moving direct or in forward motion from our perspective here on the Earth, with the exceptions of Mars, Saturn, Chiron, Neptune, and Pluto, which appear to be moving retrograde or in reverse motion. And remember, the themes of retrograde planets are a review of the past, reevaluate, reminisce, and we can see these themes being played out. Mars represents drive and aggression, began its retrograde in Sagittarius. Mars then backed into Scorpio, the sign of its traditional rulership, on May 27th. While Mars is retrograde in Scorpio, the ethics of our actions are reviewed. Retrograde Mars can cause frustration as our energy to get things done is retarded, which can lead to irritability and aggression. Retrograde Saturn in Sagittarius delays success until perseverance and patience are learned. Sagittarius themes are travel, education, adventure, and expanding our horizons and planning for upcoming experiences. Saturn it brings the details to the grand overview of Sagittarius. Saturn retrograde is a taskmaster that demands that we take responsibility to review our beliefs while in Sagittarius. Chiron retrograde has us reviewing our wounds so that they they can be released by having the courage to open our hearts to any fear or pain associated with the past. If you find yourself recalling events or situations between now and when Chiron turns direct November 30th, it is advisable to remain conscious with dealing with these uncomfortable feelings, as they will reveal the path to healing and letting go of what no longer serves a purpose in our upcoming journey. And then Neptune retrograde in Pisces. Well, this is seeking transcendence through spiritual experiences. This will be a time to use spiritual practices to keep us grounded as we expand our intuition and consciousness. Both Neptune and Pisces, the sign it rules, tend to be dreamy, imaginative, difficult to nail down due to their qualities of illusion and illumination, often without any way of knowing which is which. They represent compassion and codependence, selflessness and loss of self, higher purpose and substance abuse in their inspiration to transcend the material plane and experience something beyond words and thoughts. And then we've got Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. This is a planet of transformation through death and rebirth. In retrograde, retrograde is about reviewing the past. So this is a time of releasing anything from the past that's a burden to our new path. Pluto represents death and completion, and in Capricorn, it brings the breakdown of structures to bring about transformation. And the big change during the 1C Trecena is Mars in Scorpio is slowing down to a stop as it prepares to turn direct on June 29th, which really should bring some relief to the frustration that we've all encountered over the past few months. So let's look at the daily vibrational energy of this Trecena. We have on June 27th, we have one con or seed or lizard, which is about unity experience through planting seeds and making new connections in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. And we also have Venus in a trine to Neptune. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is forming a 120-degree angle between Venus and Neptune. Venus is finding support from her higher octave planet Neptune. This is pleasant, romantic, creative, but not necessarily good for getting things done. This is supportive relationship between the planet of romantic love and her higher octave, the planet of unconditional love. This might be a time when we experience universal love through our personal relationships. This is an excellent energy for practices and studies that raise consciousness, like yoga, mysticism, spiritualism, occult metaphysics, as a way to ground otherworldly energy in the here and now. This is also very creative and imaginative energy that seeks and appreciates beauty. Exposure to art, music, or poetry could help renew our consciousness during this dreamy, pleasant fog of this transit. This is excellent for any type of creativity that must be conceived mentally prior to being brought into physical form. For the more highly evolved, this is experienced as great compassion and tenderness, as this transit induces selflessness and spiritual love. This is a good day to indulge in daydreams and fantasies. I'm not going to be covering the daily lunar activity during these reports other than new and full moons, but that information is available on the New World Birth Daily Facebook post and also on the blogger New World Birth blog. The 28th is Tu-Chan or serpent, duality experience through being flexible in the Mayan Soul King calendar. June 29th is 3 Kini or transformation, taking action through releasing what no longer serves us, while we have Mercury entering into Cancer. And while in the sign of the crab, people will be communicating and thinking more about home and family from the perspective of security. Also on the 29th, this is a big one, Mars turns direct. And as it builds momentum over the next week, we start to feel our fiery physical energy return. This shifts our actions in new directions. Mars will build up speed to exit its traditional ruling sign of Scorpio and enter Sagittarius in August. Also on the 29th, Mercury squares Chiron, which could have people talking about their wounds or healing. This can feel uncomfortable as people may seem more thin-skinned and vulnerable, but it also facilitates more emotional self-awareness and wisdom for people who can stay present with their past wounds that have become more conscious during this sensitive transit. The 30th is for Manique or deer stability through being of service to others. And at this point, we have Venus in opposition to Pluto. From our perspective here on the Earth, this is forming a 180-degree angle, which intensifies relationships. When Venus dances with Pluto, it's not uncommon to hear from our past lovers or pine for someone from your past. Usually it's best to leave those old partners where they are, but some will not be able to resist digging up the dead to make sure of the relationship's demise. Overall, this intensifies experiences in our love lives. People will seek emotional experiences that transport them out of the ordinary, which could lead to indiscretions that lead to problems later on. A new relationship begun under this transit may have a compulsive nature to it. Watch out for people who want to exert power over others through manipulating, jealousy, guilt, and other negative emotions. Some will feel irresistibly attracted to someone who is not good for them. Relationships may struggle due to hidden resentments and tensions rising to the surface. Just be conscious of that and choose your words carefully so that they're not interpreted as destructive and can provide an opportunity for growth in partnership. And then July 1st is 5 Lamont, or star, or rabbit, or Venus empowerment through being grateful for abundant relationships. And speaking of Venus, we have Venus in a sextile to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on Earth, they're forming a 60-degree angle, which brings feelings of contentment and benevolence. This very nice sense of being at peace with the world. Friendships benefit from generosity with activities engaged in at this time, becoming a fair exchange over time. It's also favorable for financial dealings, particularly foreign investments or agreements related to medicine or legal matters. Friendships or romantic relationships that begin under this influence should be mutually beneficial. This is also a good day for getting together with friends and enjoying this lighthearted transit, particularly engaging in some form of rest and recreation, and leaving the more serious and routine business for another day. And on the 2nd, we have 6 Maluk, or offering, being in the flow through appreciating creation in the Mayan Zolkin calendar. July 7th is 7 Ak, or dog, reflection through enjoying family and friends, while we have the sun in a trine to Neptune. So this is another 120-degree angle between the sun and Neptune. And with Neptune's support, the sun, of the support of the sun, we feel a more idealistic and understanding, a more spiritual level of reality. This increases our sensitivity to the more subtle aspects of the world around us. This is good for spending time alone to engage in activities like meditation, yoga, working on art, music, or any creative project, to explore the more spiritual levels of reality from an emotional and intellectual experience. This is great for studying metaphysical or spiritual subjects and looking at your life to consider how you're doing in meeting your needs spiritually and materially. Idealistic romanticism may be a factor in our relationships today. This transit also increases sensitivity to subtler aspects of reality, with people experiencing a flash of ESP or other types of mystical experiences. The 4th is 8 Chuin, or monkey, balanced through creating something new, and we have the Cancer new moon. So it's great. You got new energy with monkey and new energy with the Cancer new moon. It's wonderful when these things run so parallel. So new moons are times of new beginnings. And in Cancer, this is about shifting and changing of our families and home life to bring more security. New moons bring an opportunity to set an intention for manifestation on the following full moon. And you look for the house in your astrology chart that contains 12 degrees 53 minutes, almost 13 degrees Cancer, to consider what area of your life is being activated by this new moon. For me, that will be my first house of self, the body, style, dispositions, mannerisms, and outward behavior. So I'd set an intention related to using this energy in that way. The moon merges with Mercury, the Sun, and Venus and finds support from Neptune, is opposed by Pluto, and harmonizes with Jupiter. The new moon conjunct Mercury brings positive energy for integrating our thoughts and moods, and merging with Venus feels cheerful, warm, gregarious, and wanting to go out and socialize. The moon finding support from Neptune brings out our innermost subconscious fantasies and daydreams, confusing reality, which might not be great for accomplishing much work. Opposed by Pluto can bring some of our deepest emotions rising to the surface to be examined and released as a way that leads to empowerment. And with this lunation sextile Jupiter, the day brings good feelings and congenial social interactions. July 5th is 9 ebb, or road, patience experienced through serving your community. And at this point, we have Mercury in a trine to Neptune. So from our perspective here on Earth, Mercury is forming a 120-degree angle with Neptune in the water signs of Cancer and Pisces. Mercury finding support from Neptune is very imaginative, creative, and more sensitive to the world around us. This favors art, music, poetry, romantic literature, and daydreams. We'll probably hear more people talking about their fantasies and hopes for the future as people are less interested in discussing practical matters. It's a great day for studying mystical and spiritual subjects, as we can transcend rational thought and just know through our intuition. And on the 6th, we have 10 Ben, or corn, manifestation through maintaining the home with Venus in a trine to Mars. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Venus is forming a 120-degree angle with Mars, which can have a variety of effects, most of which are favorable. This brings the energy to be assertive without offending others, as folks appreciate directness. This brings a nice balance between your need to be an individual with personal wants and needs and your need to relate to others. Whenever there is a contact between Venus and Mars, there's a likelihood of an aroused sex drive. People are more likely to be charming and agreeable. It also brings the concern that the partner is enjoying the relationship as well, which fulfills an important requirement of a successful sexual connection. A relationship begun at this time has a good chance of lasting, but even if it is short term, it's usually satisfying and without bitterness at the time of parting. Also on the 6th, we've got the Sun conjunct Mercury. So from our perspective here on the Earth, the Sun and Mercury are at the same degree of Cancer. This stimulates our social interactions and conversations, particularly with people who are a part of our new direction. In Cancer, this could be related to the home and family. Also, illumination comes to some of the dark areas in our minds, which can bring information that was bring out information that was previously in the shadows. This alignment emphasizes an increase in conversations, although folks are more inclined to talk than listen. So, being a conjunction, it brings an initiative to start something new, including starting a new creative venture, as Mercury rules commerce and the exchange of ideas. This also brings a sharpness to the thinking process and is a good time for making plans for the future. July 7th is 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 uh, is 11 Ish or Jaguar, resolution through enjoying nature. And at this point, we've got Mercury in opposition to Pluto. So from our perspective here on the Earth, this is forming a 180-degree angle between Mercury and Pluto, which wants to get the bottom of any problems in relationships with the people we encounter. Expect intellectual conflict where folks try to convince each other of their own personal truth. And these conflicts can become subversive in their attempts to persuade and may result in a smoldering conflict which plays out behind the scenes. Power plays are a strong possibility under this influence. Propaganda and indoctrination are themes that we will likely see escalate for a day or so. The best use of this transit is to investigate hidden or secret subjects, whether they are coming from our environment or aspects of ourselves. Research and puzzle solving benefits from this energetic. Just be careful not to become obsessed with one possibility to the detriment of everything else. Both with Mercury opposing Pluto, I'd expect hidden subconscious information to come to light. Also on the 7th, we have Venus in a square to Uranus. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Venus is making a 90-degree angle with Uranus. And all these transits on the 7th are activating the separating Uranus-Pluto square for a few days before and after the 7th. So folks with the Venus square Uranus are seeking excitement in their love relationships, and this can include picking a fight to experience a different aspect of interacting. The beginning of July is intense as we have the planet of love, but also money in Cancer being challenged by the winds of change. Because Uranus is involved, this is unpredictable, but it can also be drastic with Pluto in concert. The themes of this energetic might be an unexpected stock market drop, or a change in spending due to scarcity, or currency change in the early oil markets where the dollar had been the preferred measurement of value. On a personal level, folks are looking to do something exciting out of the ordinary. So if you're in a relationship that's become dull and predictable, this is the time to inject it with a new experience rather than have it erupt into a fight about how we never do anything interesting. Basically, the less flexibility in a relationship during this transit, the more damaging this alignment is likely to be. And then also on the 7th, the Sun is opposed to Pluto. So again, another 180-degree angle from our perspective here on the Earth. And it colors the day's energy, which can cause rather intense encounters with others or circumstances that may expose something that was hidden, or that we choose to ignore for the purpose of transforming the old, worn-out pattern that can no longer serve us. This indicates power struggles with others, particularly people in authority. This is a day is the hallmark of relationship difficulties that could possibly lead to breakups. If you want to keep that in mind, rather than trying to repair the damage of this transit's influence, words and deeds should be monitored so that you don't have to make up for them down the road. Overall, we're talking about transformation on some level as a shift is required away from doing things the same old way. And the Cancer-Capricorn axis really brings tension related to balancing home and family with career and responsibilities to the outer world. This shift requires a major transformation where outer power reflects inner power, where transparency and integrity are key. The 8th is 12 men, or eagle. This is about understanding through seeing from a higher perspective. And at this point, we've got Mercury in a sextile to Jupiter. So from our perspective here on the Earth, Mercury and Jupiter are at a 60-degree angle, which brings our attention to the larger issues in life. Many will find their minds wandering to thoughts about the future, as our hopes and wishes are more important under this influence. This is also good for thinking about the overall patterns in our lives. This is optimistic and brings positive attitude. This is also good for business negotiations, contract discussions, and commercial transactions, as well as dealing with the law. Travel also benefits, so it would be a good energy to start a trip, or perhaps research some far-off place you wish to visit. Religious and philosophical subjects seem to be more attractive for investigation at this time. And also on the 8th, Venus trines Chiron, which will heal old wounds that we've become aware of from the interactions of the planet of love and money. This transit facilitates healing our relationships with others and our sense of self-worth. July 9th is 13 key or wisdom, which is movement to the next stage through introspection, meditation, and forgiveness in the Mayan Soul King calendar. So no matter what energies are affecting you during the 1C Trisena, just take some time to be in the flow of the planet by being in nature, watching a sunrise or a sunset, communing with the stars, being conscious of the moment through introspection, meditation, or even being with somebody you love consciously. Every day is a blessing, no matter what dramas beckon to distract us. And I believe we're all here giving the performance of a lifetime on this world stage. Just take some time to observe the play as well as act your part by remembering you're a spiritual being that's having a human experience. I want to thank you for checking out New World Birth. The next segment of the Care and Feeding of a New World Age will be on July 10th for 1 Kaban, or Earth, with Venus entering Leo, followed by Mercury entering Leo, the Capricorn full moon, and then the Sun entering Leo. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, or the Mayan Magics website. There's New World Birth presences in all these places. And I encourage you to share this information as videos or as text as widely as you choose. And as always, I invite you to contact me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you have any questions or wish to schedule a reading. And I am providing readings and wish to make this service available to the greatest amount of folks. So I've created 3 options with 3 levels of compensation. So if you've been thinking about getting a reading, please contact me. I would love to provide you a reading during these uncertain times. You'll need to be able to either call me in Maine in the USA, or we can connect with Skype to receive your reading. We're also accepting donations to keep these reports freely available. Just email me at newworldbirth@yahoo.com if you're interested in making a donation. As I've said before, a great way to support us too is by getting a reading. You get something of real importance for yourself, and you help us keep these reports going. It really has been very lean here for a while, so I don't know how much longer we're going to be going. But if you can support us now, it would be greatly appreciated in being able to continue to offer these reports. Anyway, as always, I'm blessed that you've taken the time to connect with my passion for these ancient mysteries and their application to our journey during this incarnation. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste, in Lakesh. And I do look forward to connecting with you in the future, whether it's a reading or in a video or if you have a question. All my best to you. Peace.